Even though they knew about the sexual abuse when I was a child, no one said anything. But after my mother died, they started casting witchcraft on me to make me have problems with alcoholism. And I remember I felt like I was struggling to wake up in the morning, and it wasn't a problem for me to get out of bed and go to work. I think the people I knew back then were Mexican because I didn't see anyone who looked like him physically. Just a second. Like them physically, nor did I see them again in Guatemala City. I tried to continue my studies in 2005, and before my mom died, there was a schoolmate who said her mom died and her name was my mom's name. Some of them looked Mexicans. I know it now after being undocumented in Mexico. But they are nice to me when they are around my neighborhood or a place I'm working to try to make me go back to the US. I never saw that schoolmate again. She used to live in a place close to Zone 3, where in 2017 someone from Amparo could be translated into shelter in English. So you can look it up and know that Amparo, A is in a way, M is in a mine, a mild. A is in away, M is in mild, P as in Peter, A is in away again, R is in rare, O is in Oscar. 2. Like 1, 2. Took me to buy cocaine. I remember when I was a child that Mexicans come to try to see the migrant relative who died in the coffin. Yeah, that's why they didn't let others see the relative who died in the funeral. Seems like they do witchcraft to you so that you have what they call in witchcraft delirium. Images that you are not even thinking of or have dreams about that relative who died. According to what I heard, when they get American papers or as Mexicans get them US papers, they try to get just a second. So according to what I heard, when they get American papers or as Mexicans get them US papers, they try to get rid of their relatives one by one. And as a matter of the fact, in Guatemala seems like they don't let you finish your studies or have working stability so that you go with your relatives in the US. And others take advantage to go to the US after they make you leave. Yeah, that's why they came here. They were trying to make me get US papers, but I would be owing them a favor, and I should do what they want me to do. They are following me everywhere I go. The children you hear at the beginning of the audio, they are not Guatemalans. They are not Guatemalans. I don't know what they are doing here. So I'm talking about this because they try to help you get US papers, but then they want you to do what they want you to do. And they want you to take people to the US, the people they want to. That's why I'm not interested. I'm tired of saying that, but I say it anyways. I'm tired of Mexicans following me in my own country. What did they expect? Me remaining silent after they didn't let me finish my studies or learn any working skill? They even went to the US instead of uh, migrants' relatives, and they're still waiting for you to be petitioned and get US papers and take people to the US, the people they want you to take to the US. No, just a second. Every time I'm recording, they are doing all these noises. Do you know why? I'm not being racist. I want to make it clear because I have seen a lot of videos saying people are being racist to Mexicans in the US. No, I don't want to know anything about it because they made threats of death to me in Tijuana. And they just want to use me to get US papers, and they would want me to do whatever they want me to do and take the people they want me to take to the US. Period. I'm not being racist. I need to make it clear. You see the way they behave. They know you're recording. They go to sit beside you. They know you're having some privacy alone, but they even come to your neighborhood in your country of origin. That's something they don't talk about when they post videos about people being racist to Mexicans. So you see, they know what I'm talking. I'm gonna say it in Spanish because I didn't say it in Spanish. Entonces, he visto videos de que dicen de que hay gente en Estados Unidos siendo racista contra los mexicanos. Yo lo aclaro de una vez, no estoy siendo racista. Simplemente lo que ellos quieren es de que me peticionen, me den papeles y que haga lo que ellos quieren que haga. Y que me lleve a la gente que ellos quieren que me lleve. Simplemente por lo que yo me alejo de toda esa situación y en realidad a mí no me interesa es por las amenazas de muerte en Tijuana. Ahí no vinieron, como por ejemplo ahorita se sentaron a la par mía sabiendo de que estaba grabando y lo hicieron por fastidiar. Vienen 4 o 5, lo debo de aclarar, aparte que traen niños, ¿ya? Entonces, lo aclaro de una vez, no estoy siendo racista, esa es la verdad. According to what I heard, when they get Americans paper, I have already read that kind of Mexican behave as if they had a right on you, as if they could decide on you, as if you were their property. That's why they didn't let me get job stability in Guatemala. That is the reason why they have me hopping from job to burn all hiring possibility in the companies in Guatemala. To beg Mexicans to take me back to the US. Just a second. To take me back to the US. Just a second. And they could have control on me. That is the reason why they have me hopping from job to earn all hiring possibility in the companies in Guatemala. Sometimes they come with an intense vibe of witchcraft. I have found them in the streets or places I've worked, or they come in packs of 2 or 3. I also heard that they make a migrant's relative die, or with witchcraft they make migrant cause the death of the relative to gain what they call in witchcraft practices powers, and the spiritual gifts they get with black magic, or even to get US papers so that they don't do what they've done to me. Yeah, sometimes they walked past behind me, and I just didn't realize that there was someone passing by behind me. also strange headaches in a split of second. They try. It's like right now you have a headache and you don't understand why, and in a couple of seconds, and minutes later, you stop out of nowhere having that headache. They try even to prove the opposite with your relatives, according to what people have been trying to imply, is that your relatives who try to prove the opposite in those situations, they allow them to have job stability in Guatemala, and they ask for not letting you have working stability in companies where you could learn a profession or working skills. They try even to prove, no, it's what the game they have with immigration is about, to try offend you by doing things like those. That's why they insist in making you leave Guatemala, to use you like a scale to get to the US. In spite of the death of some migrants' relatives, they did that, so I wouldn't talk about what happened and what I would find out. That's the kind of game they play. They also put people in these kinds of situations to make it difficult for them to get a job, saying they just want money to get drunk. Even in a settlement, a pick out in the like Bethania neighborhood, they already know. It seems like that's why they're laughing. They already know it, and that's why I'm trying to always stick to the truth, so that they don't say you're giving bad comments about it. No, you know what happened, and I'm telling the truth. So the name of this settlement was the name of my aunt, the one you listen in the other audio. Margarita. He took me there because they did witchcraft to me to get drunk. He took me there. I don't know how I get there because I wasn't with him. And he took photos to share a video of me just to mess with me, and the name of the settlement of the pickout or the pickout. Yeah, that's why people use those names. Yeah, I don't know, hoping to go to the US. And I want to point it out because I don't mess with anyone. I remember there's a lady who practices witchcraft in that settlement. I didn't, I didn't have to know it, but she was talking about it and all that stuff. So that's why I'm pointing it out, because they're trying to make me leave Guatemala, and there's a huge truth I have to talk about. Even in this settlement, there was somebody I know is Mexican because it's obvious. Once he was supposedly drunk in a place where neither he or nor the people who were his friends knew where I was at. I learned about the place where I supposedly get drunk through supposedly mutual friends, but they didn't know I was there at the time. I only remember people there telling me they were going to put me to sleep. In fact, I remember some people taking me out of that place and taking me to this Mexican man's house. He took photos and videos of me, saying he was playing a game with me because his mother was playing a game with him. So I had nothing to do with that, and he got me involved into that situation. Just a second. He said he was going to show these videos later, like now when this situation is happening. He said they did that to make it harder for me to get American papers. They already knew back in 2007 what they were gonna do. Almost 10 years later, they have been making me waste my time all this time just for this stupid game. That my relatives had left to the United States for that reason. This happened in 2007. He also said that it was difficult for him to get into call centers. Yeah, he was talking about me. He was talking about me. He did that. Said that it would be difficult for me to get hired if by any call center. And he also said that it was my mom's turn. 1 year later, my mom died. Then he tried to accuse me of stealing his phone, which he used to take photos and videos of me while being drunk. But he never told me that up front. I never managed to get the videos or photos from that cell phone. The person who tried to get those videos and photos told me that they weren't friends. They weren't my friends. He gave me another phone and told me that if he asked that phone back, he should go to that guy who tried to get the pictures and videos of me from that cell phone. I see. It seems that this Mexican guy did ask him that cell phone back because he told me that he had given negative comments about me, but he never asked me that cell phone back. Just a few months later, they forced me to leave Guatemala. They forced me to leave Guatemala in 2019. So I don't know if it has something to do with the saying that, well, it's better for me to ignore what they are doing with that ambulance. But going back to what I was reading, they do this because they force someone to leave Guatemala. They use witchcraft to make them feel the urge of grabbing things against their will. And there are even Mexicans who come to work for companies in Guatemala and try to justify annoying you with these kinds of situations so you don't stay working in Guatemala, leaving you as only option to go to the US. They also come as a client to bother you where you're working, even if you don't owe anything in Mexico. I remember when I came back to Guatemala, I was working as a security guard in a pharmacy, and many Mexicans came into this pharmacy. They were checking the glucose testers, asking for the price, but they didn't take those glucose testers. Also, they were asking for a cream, the one you use for your skin, which the name of this cream was the name of my sister. And there was a lady using a towel in her head. I don't know what she was trying to say. So, going back to what I was reading. Why are Mexicans so offended that someone goes to the Mexico-US border undocumented, even though they don't owe anything in their country of origin or anywhere else, and they come to keep an eye and try to prevent migrants' relatives from getting US papers in their country of origin? Their country of origin or anywhere else. You see, he's doing noises with the truck on purpose. Oigan, está haciendo ruidos con el camión a propósito. They even come to keep an eye and try to. De hecho, me estoy dando cuenta de que me están haciendo no sé qué brujería para hablar como mexicano. Trato de no hablar como mexicano, pero me cuesta. Actually, I'm realizing they're doing any witchcraft for me, to me, so that I talk with an American accent in Spanish, even if I don't want to. Okay. They come to keep an eye and try to prevent migrants' relatives from getting U.S. papers in their country of origin, by even with the test they put you through to steal in Mexico and in your country of origin. Don't they speak publicly about this? There was also a Mexican who offered me drugs in 2016, and he later told me that I would no longer have the possibility of obtaining American papers. They do those stealing tests because if you fall into those traps, they would make you famous and news cameras and the news channels cameras. And if it's because they've to threaten to kill you in Tijuana, they don't let you get a job even if you have a refugee status. And because of the death threats, you've lost contact with your family. That's why they needed to stop pretending to send National Guard members to guard the border, saying that they are trying to stop immigrants who try to cross the Rio Grande River. I crossed the Rio Grande, and I can say from my own experience that if you end up in the back of a neighborhood where I don't know if they call the sheriff, but the sheriff stops you and asks you if you have American papers to be in the United States. By not having them, he calls the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol takes your biometrics and releases you across the international bridge. While you are going through this situation as a teenager, which is part of the immigration game, they spend their time lying, saying that there are people trying to cross Mexico, United States border illegally. I know from my own experience that if you arrive in the United States undocumented, they don't let you get a job. That's why I'm back in Guatemala. The worst thing is that no one says anything about all of this. But if you tell the truth about the border, so that they lie ends and they stop bothering you, they'll even come to keep an eye on you, trying to find any flaw to mess with it. Even neighbors, in gratitude, welcome Mexicans who come to keep an eye on you. Honestly, it doesn't seem like keeping an eye on you is. It doesn't seem like keeping an eye on you is a good thing. A neighbor who went to the U.S. Give me a second. These kids started to make noises, so I gotta find another place to record. They do that on purpose. I can't believe that. They complained about people being racist to them in the United States. They come to my country to try to prevent me from recording what is true. So I hope they'll listen to this audio and they can accept publicly the way they behave in somebody else's country. It's not being a racist. It's not racist. It's the way they behave. can't believe all of this. And they went away like, I know we were doing noises. And we should leave. Dude, you know I'm recording. You could give me some space and some variety to to finish my recordings. So just a second, because next audio